You are bold, you are fearless, you are radiant. It's time to unlock the diamond from within. BFF, we rise above, stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire, fearless souls, we're reaching high.
Hey guys, welcome back to the BFF Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Black Diamond, and I hope you guys are having a great week so far. I hope the day has been good to you. People are being kind to you. And before we get into our weekly episode this week, let's do our midweek, midday check-in.
What's going on? What's happening? Time for the midweek check-in. What's going on? What's happening? Time for the midweek check-in.
All right, guys. So, what have I been up to this week? So, I finally got that stubborn toothache taken care of. I ended up having to get a tooth pulled. Thank goodness it was a molar, so it was all the way in the back, not on the smile line, because I got to keep these pearly whites looking good. So I did appreciate my family stepping up and being there for me and being my comforter. I'm used to being the one that is always there for everyone and making everyone else feel good when they're not feeling well, but my family definitely stepped up to the plate. My kids, they're 5, 6, and 7. So, they were bringing me teddy bears and blankets and, kissing me on the forehead and basically just trying to stay out of the way because they could tell that I was really, really, in a lot of pain to the point that I was crying and they had never seen me really cry before. Like I literally just couldn't manage. I had no choice but to just go ahead and get that tooth pulled. So my significant other, he stepped up, made a emergency doctor's appointment at the dentist, walked me to the car, sent me on my way and told me don't worry about things. He had the kids. And, at once I finally felt that relief that, my family was behind me. So I'm feeling good, not feeling any pain. So I'm glad about that. Let's see, what else have I been up to? Also, I found out that I won an award for my latest book, Stolen Innocence, A Survivor's Journey to Freedom. So my book won for memoir slash trauma healing. And I won the award is called the International Impact Book Award. So that was great. That was great. Another accomplishment. This is my fourth award as an author in the past 2 years, and I've been an author since 2016. So definitely feel like my hard work is starting to pay off. It's being recognized by, just different book industries. So I'm really, really happy about that. Let's see, what else? What else? What else have I been up to this week? I am at the tail end of my life coaching certification. I sit for my practicum, and after that, I will receive my certification. So I'm excited about that. I also found out from my manager that the director of the one of the places where she volunteers, my manager is also a life coach, but her director of this domestic violence shelter want me to come and speak to the ladies there. So I'm excited about that. That's located in Charlotte. I'll let you guys know more details on that as I find that out. About the date and time and all of that. So if any of you who are in the Charlotte area want to come and actually listen and hear me speak. So that is my wrap up for my check-in. All right, guys, I hope you are ready for an empowering episode this week. You've been asking the questions, and I have the answers. So, a lot of people have been asking me over the years, what's my process with self-publishing? Why did I decide to self-publish? How can they self-publish? How can they make their dreams a reality of becoming a author? And so I'm going to preface this by saying this is my journey, this is my experience. You may not have the same experience I did. You may not have the same or use the same resources and things that I do, but I'm just letting you know my process and how I got started. So the first thing I did was decided whether or not I wanted to be traditionally published or self-published. So I did a lot of research. And just I came with the conclusion that I wanted control over my own writing. I wanted to be able to write and publish when I wanted to write and publish. You know, I live a busy lifestyle. I have family, I have responsibilities, I have a full-time job. So I did not want to be tied down to a contract. And so that's what made me make the decision to go self-publishing. So I didn't just start writing yesterday. I've been writing since I was 11 years old. And everything from music to stories to poetry, I've been a writer naturally since 11 years old. And I would say even before then. But 11 years old is when I first was even encouraged to pursue writing as a career by my fifth grade teacher. So, after I made that decision to self-publish, of course, you have to have a story or a book to self-publish. So, first thing you need to do is write the story. So, after I wrote the stories, which I had plenty of stories just from years and years and years, I had to decide which one I actually wanted to publish. So, with self-publishing, the difference between self-publishing and traditionally publishing means with a traditional publishing house company, um, they fit the bill for everything. Your editing, your copy editing, your proofreading, your graphic design, your formatting, everything is basically paid for by the publishing company, and then you get a portion of the royalties as book sales. With self-publishing, you take on the responsibility of all the expenses that comes along with publishing your book. And in my experience, the most expensive parts of self-publishing would have to be the editing and also the illustrations because I do also do children's literature. So getting books illustrated and the editing part for me has been the most expensive part of the process. I would definitely say if you're not willing to invest in a professionally done book, don't self-publish. Wait until you do have that money to invest because you don't want to half do it. It's going to show, it's going to be a representation of who you are because being a self-published author is not only just a career, it's not just a skill, but it's a business. You are representing yourself as a professional, as a self-published author. So that means you're making money from people purchasing your work. So that means you need to invest in your work. If you're not willing to do that, then you don't want to go be a self-published author. And I had to learn that the hard way because I was so excited about publishing my first book that and I was embarrassed. I was thoroughly embarrassed and I just couldn't believe it because I'm such a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo, and I am very into making sure everything that I do is properly done because it is a representation of who I am as a person. But the excitement was there. I just wasn't paying attention. So I paid someone to edit my book, not realizing that they just took my money and never actually did anything. I published the book, uploaded it to Amazon and, all these different platforms, and I'm just excited. I'm finally a published author. Like, never even paid attention to the fact that this person said they edited my book, but they really didn't. At that time, I didn't know a whole lot about editing. So I was just going by what the person told me. Yep, they edited it. Okay, it's good to go. Okay, cool. Upload it. And then when I actually got a copy of the book and read it myself, I just wanted to slap myself, honestly. I was so disappointed. I was like, I can't believe I put this out for the world to read. Like, oh my gosh. How could I have done and been so dumb and do something like this? Because I was so excited about being published that I just put the first thing out there. Needless to say, I pulled that book down and actually got it professionally edited. Not only that, but I also expanded on the story as well. So when I first published it, it was a short story. Then, just based on the feedback from the reviews and people that read the story, they wanted to see more, so I decided to actually transform that short story into a full-length novel. And so it is my first book called His or Her Betrayal. It is a transgender fictional story that is very dramatic. But it's actually based on someone that I know in my real life, who was struggling with identity and being, transgender. And so I kind of wrote her struggles, but from the viewpoint of a male going through that transformation, but it was really a female that I knew personally. But I'm not going to, spoil the story. So if you're interested in reading more about the story, definitely look it up on all major platforms for books. It is called His or Her Betrayal. So that was the first book I published. So the lessons I learned with that book was to definitely get it professionally edited. Don't just, go by the cheapest price, the fastest turnaround. Actually go with someone who is a professional. And so I was actually very disappointed to find out that person just took my money and just really didn't do anything. Um, Second thing I learned with that first publishing process was not to let people know my situation about being blind, because I do feel like I was taken advantage of because of that. Because at the time when I was publishing that book, I didn't have any sighted peers around me. I didn't have anybody that could review the covers of the book and, do the things that were very visual. So when the person that did my book cover told me this is what it was, he did exactly what I want. I took his word for it. I had no way to verify this is, before AI, this is before, descriptions and all of that. So I took the person's word for it that the description of what I wanted my book cover to look like, he had done it. Only to find out he had not. And so the fact that I had told him that I was blind and this is how I wanted it, he basically just gave me whatever and took my money. And so that taught me to not rely on this person or people, even though they're pretending or they're putting on an act as if they're a professional and they're actually going to do what they say they're going to do, for me not to trust people. And so from that moment on, I started asking people that I knew, and I would get opinions from different people before I accepted the cover that, the person designed for me. And I stopped revealing, unless it was just totally necessary, I would not reveal that I was blind. And one of the platforms that I used to, which I still use to this day, I found some really, really great people off of the platform, but I use Fiverr.com. So it is a freelance site where you can post requests for just about anything that you need done. And so I would go on and post, I needed an editor for a manuscript of, 10,000 words, or I needed a graphic designer to do a book cover for yada, yada, yada. And so people would reach out to you, they would give you a quote on how much they would charge to do ABCD. So it is a very useful resource. I still use it to this day. That's actually how I found the amazing narrator that I have that does all of my audiobooks. I'm working on trying to get all of my books in audiobooks, but so far I have about three of my books that are narrated by this amazing young lady. She actually started her own I think it's like a voiceover company. But her name is Joyce Licorice. And so she is amazing. And everyone who's read my books that she's narrated, they love her. She narrated my latest book, The Stolen Innocence, A Survivor's Journey to Freedom. She also narrated my first erotica novel, Dream Paramour, and then she also narrated my poetry collection, Lyrics of Love, which is another book that I won an award for in 2024. I won for poetry, love poetry. Um, so Fiverr, you definitely have to weed out the riffraff, which you're going to find that anywhere, whether you're using Upworks, whether you're using Facebook, whether you're using whatever service, resource, you definitely have to weed out the people and vet them to make sure that they are upstanding individuals. So the person that I use now, she primarily does all of my book work. She does my graphic design, she does my formatting, she does my illustration. So now I've narrowed my team down to basically one person because she does it all. And she's amazing. I love everything that she does. And I actually found her from Facebook. So a part of the self-publishing journey is when you're a self-published author, it's going to require you, because you are taking on the responsibility for everything regarding your book being published, you are going to have to network. You're going to have to join groups and join communities and join just different for platforms for authors. And so I have joined like quite a bit of groups and stuff like that on Facebook, for graphic designers or beta readers or ARC readers or just different reader groups. So it requires a lot of getting out there, putting yourself out there, putting yourself out there, putting your requests out there, what you're looking for in a beta reader, what you're looking for in a graphic designer. So there's lots and lots and lots of groups and stuff on the different social media platforms that you can be a part of when it comes to your self-publishing journey. Marketing. That's a big thing and also a big expense too when it comes to being self-published. You can use social media platforms, you can pay ads for social media, you can pay for ads through Amazon. That's going to be another thing. You're going to have to figure out what marketing works for you for getting your books out there, whether you're creating groups where you share snippets of books for interested people, or whether you pay for ads or so there you're gonna have to figure out what works for you as far as the marketing and getting your book out there, getting it to other readers. I do a little bit of all of the the above to get my books marketed out there. And also when it comes to publishing, you're going to have to basically have that ambition, that drive, that goal. It's one thing to want to be published, but you actually have to do the work that's required to also get published. And being self-published can be very expensive. It can. So if you're not in a financial position to be able to fund being self-published, then I wouldn't say do it, because you don't want to just throw anything out there and your name and your reputation is attached to that. Also with self-publishing, so I've self-published 14 books, spanning many different genres. So I do children's literature, I do poetry, I do contemporary fiction, I do romance, I do erotica poetry, I do nonfiction. So my writing ability is very versatile. So I can write in many different genres. Those are the genres that interest me. So that's what I write in. So you're gonna have to find a genre that works for you as far as what you want to write about, whether it's fantasy, whether it's there's just so many genres of books. You also need to read some of the genres that you're interested in so that you can kind of have an idea of how to structure your manuscript. And I apologize, guys. I'm kind of like all over the place. I'm not going in order as far as the steps, as far as publishing goes, but there's just so much that even one episode I can't share every single thing with you. So I'm just trying to give you the meats and potatoes of it, to help you make that informed decision if self-publishing is the right avenue that you want to go through. Also, once figure out which genre you want and you've read books and things like that, definitely, like I said, join different groups and things for those specific genres. Um because you want to also get feedback from others that may be authors or aspiring authors or poets or anything like that. So also get feedback from other people that are in that same genre to make sure that you're getting honest feedback. See, another thing when it comes to self-publishing is also what formats your books are available in. Some people opt for just publishing to Kindle only. So their book is only available as an ebook. Me, I prefer to have my books in as many different formats as possible because we're all readers. We read different, we consume content differently. So I want to make sure that you have the platform of choice that you would want to get a book, whether you want an ebook, whether you prefer a paperback, physical book, or if you prefer to listen to your books as an audiobook. So I try to offer all three platforms. And if audio is not available, then at least you have the option of an ebook or a paperback book. So that's another thing you would have to decide as well, is what formats your books would be available in. Another thing you would have to decide also is what publishing platforms you would be interested in, because that also determines how much your royalty payments are. If you publish strictly to Amazon, then you get more of a royalty from Amazon, but you are not allowed to publish your book anywhere else. Basically, Amazon has the rights to your books. So the royalty may be higher, but you're basically just an Amazon author. If you choose to take a lesser royalty and not, exclusively publish only through Amazon, then you also can publish through any other online book retailer such as Walmart, Target, Barnes& and Noble, Books A Million, all of iBooks, Google Books, all of that. So me personally, I chose to take the lesser of the royalty amount because I don't want my books exclusively only Amazon. I don't want to be known as only an Amazon author. If that's what you want, that's fine for you. It's not my preference. I like variety in my life and I like people to have options and choices. So if they want to read my book through Amazon, it's available there. If they want to read my book through iBooks, it's available there. If they want to read it through Barnes& and Noble, you get it. The options are there. They're not restricted to only one platform of choice in order to read anything that I have published. And I think it just helps me to actually get a wider audience because I also get notifications all the time from book retailers that I've never even heard of. And they'll say, "Oh, you have a royalty sale from such and such and such." And I'm like, people read books through that? I've never even heard of that, but okay. Apparently somebody bought my book through there, so I'm getting a royalty, sale from that. So I'm like, you leave the possibilities for your book to reach a wider audience when you open up your distribution
network. And with the distribution networks, so with my paperback books, I publish through Ingram Spark. So that allows my books to be available not only in Amazon, but also Walmart, Target, Books A Million, all the other online book retailers that sell paperback books. And so also you'll have to decide distribution channels, because there's different sites that will distribute your book to whatever different platforms. Like for my ebooks, I use Draft to Digital, which is responsible for distributing my book to like the eNook, which is the Barnes and Noble ebook, platform, and then also they distribute to iBooks and just all the other ebook retailers. So when it comes to publishing, also you have to use an ISBN for your paperback books and titles, and also if you want your books to be available in Apple and different stores like that. Amazon doesn't require you to have an ISBN, but if you want your books to be distributed to other major online book retailers, they do require you to have an ISBN. And so you can get an ISBN from the platform itself. They'll allow you to use a free ISBN, but the publisher of your book would be listed as whatever that platform is. So if it's Ingram Sparks, then it would say Ingram Sparks is the publisher, or if it's, Amazon, it would say Amazon. You get my drift. But if you purchase your own ISBN, then you can list yourself, whether it's just your name you write under, your pen name, your real name, or if you actually have a publishing company name, you will be able to list that as the publisher of the book when you purchase your own ISBN. And to upload a book is pretty simple. It's pretty easy. It's much easier than people think. You literally just, upload all your files, like your whichever document style that your book is available in, whether it's a PDF, whether it's a Mobi, whether it's, whatever your platform, you just upload the book to the online distribution, and you put in the synopsis, the book title, all the metadata associated with your book. And you hit publish, and you wait for them to, alert you that your book has been published. So publishing is very easy. It's not as hard as people think. It's just, it does take a lot of work if you are wanting to do this professionally and you're not just wanting to put up any old thing, for people to read. I'm trying to think of anything else I need to include with the publishing process outside of the ISBN and deciding your distribution network. I think that is it.
Um, Another thing as far as self-publishing, a lot of people just are afraid to actually take that leap of faith. They're afraid to um actually just do it. And I feel like if that's what you want to do it. For me, my leap of faith was I would write and write and write and write. And of course, it's okay for you to love your own work, but you're your own critic. You're your worst critic. And also your your feelings about your work would be biased because it's based on your own opinions. And of course, everyone thinks their stuff is great. So for me, I started posting snippets of my work on social media. When I was working on something, I would post a chapter or post half of a chapter or something just to kind of gauge people's responses. And the responses that I got was like, wow, like I love this book. Like, where's the next part? When is this going to be published? Just the feedback that I got from people when they read what I did post, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And that was the push that I needed to take that leap because I had been wanting to be an author since I was a child. That had been my childhood dream, but I thought that maybe it wasn't possible anymore. That I was just writing for my own entertainment. But the fact of seeing like all the shares and all the likes and comments about wanting more, and I was just like, you know what? I have something here. So I'm going to do what I need to do to make it happen. And so that's what I did. And I've been publishing now since 2016. I've published 14 books in different genres. Um, Working on book number 15. And I also want to just let people know, you're not going to get rich from being an author. So if that's what you think, you might as well not even do it. The money trickles in. It's not something, yes, of course, when you first release your book and people are excited to buy it, yes, you may have the biggest royalty check you'll get. But after that, after the hullabaloo, slows down about your book, the excitement kind of wanes a little bit. You'll get notifications here or there. Oh, 6 months later, oh, somebody bought my book. Okay, unless you're constantly marketing, constantly spending money on ads, constantly, doing things, the money is going to trickle in. It's not going to be a consistent thing that you can quit your 9 to 5 and just be an author. Like, it's not going to work like that. So don't have that expectation that, oh, this is just going to be, you're just going to be rolling in money because you're now an author. You're going to be sadly mistaken. I do it more so is because I love writing. It's what I'm passionate about. It's not, for me, it's not more so about the money. It's more so about doing what it is that I love and then getting to see and hear how other people enjoy what I love. So I'm not in it to because I think I'm going to get rich. Yes, it's another revenue source. Yes, because it is a nice surprise when I get that notification that blink, in 2 weeks your royalty check is going to be deposited. Like, it's great. Like, okay, yeah, I like that. But I'm not sitting here thinking that this is going to be my bread and butter. I still have to work a 9 to 5. I still have other revenue sources that, other business ventures, other things that I do to keep that money going. But it's not going to come from being an author. Unless you're a New York Times best-selling author and, you've been traditionally published and a lot of times what a lot of people don't know, a lot of traditionally published authors still have to work 9 to 5s. They're not as rich and wealthy as you think they are. A lot of times when you are signed by a publishing company, you are giving a basically they predict what they think your book is going to do. So you're given an advance check. Well, what happens if your book doesn't sell as much as they projected it would? Well, you have to give that money back. So if you've already spent it thinking like, oh yeah, this book is gonna blow up. They gave me $250,000. I'm about to buy a house and I'm gonna do this, and your sales don't match what they were expecting or projecting, you have to pay that back. You now owe them. And that's the same thing with any industry, actually. Even the music industry is the same way. You get an advance on what they think you're going to do. But if you don't live up to that expectation, then yes, now you owe them that money. And so, yeah, a lot of authors still have to work regular jobs. So it's not going to be something that's going to make you rich. But if it's your passion and you love writing, go for it. Do it. If you can financially afford to self-publish, go for it. If you want to be traditionally published, I can't tell you how to do that, honestly. I'm sorry. I've never been traditionally published and I have no desire to. But you can, I'm pretty sure, do the research necessary to find out how to be traditionally published. But I love having control over my work. If I decide this year, I don't want to write anymore. I don't want to publish any books. I don't have to. There's no contract obligating me to push out a book every month or push out a book every year. If I decide I want to publish 3 books in a year, I can do that. That's my choice. And that's what I love about self-publishing, the freedom to publish when and what I want. I don't have to tell anybody that, oh, I only want you to write in the genre of romance. And it has to be, boy meets girl, they fall in love and they get married and they live happily ever after. Because a lot of times when you're traditionally published, that's what they want. They tell you what you have to write and how you have to write it. And if it's not to the standards that they're looking for, then they won't publish it. And I've actually talked to actually traditionally published authors. And yeah, that's why a lot of the authors that I do love, like I notice their books are the same storyline. The same, it's just the characters may have changed, the names may have changed, the place may have changed. But if you really look at one of your favorite authors that have written like lots and lots and lots of, a lot of their storylines are the same exact thing. And so for me, I like versatility. I like different things. I write in different genres because I can. I have the ability to do so. So, like with my first erotic novel, Dream Paramour, that kind of started as an experiment. I've always done erotica poetry. So, I actually took one of my poems, which was called Office Romance, and I was like, I wonder if I can basically create a book out of a poem. And that's what I did. So it started as just something me wanting to see my capabilities and what I was able to do. And it spawned a 3-part series. I just finished writing the second book. So I'm gonna work on editing that and getting that done, and then hopefully next year that will be published, and then I can work on the third book in that series. But in the meantime, I have so many unfinished books on my computer. It's ridiculous. Like whenever I go to my folder and I look and I'm like, when are you gonna finish this book? And I have people tell me all the time, when are you gonna finish this book? Well, when are you gonna publish another book? When are you going? You had us waiting, and I'm like, you guys don't realize I have so much in my life that I do. Like, yes, I would love to just be able to sit down and just ink out books, but unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I don't use AI to write, and I know I do see a lot of people do. And so basically, they're inking out 11 books in 1 month. And that's not authentic. That's not really real. Even the most popular author doesn't ink out 11 books in 30 days. But I don't use AI to write. I write naturally myself. So it takes time. And I have other things that I do. I have a family. I work full time. I'm a podcast host now. I'm a songwriter. I'm doing, I have so many hats that I wear. So, I'm definitely working on a lot of book projects and trying to get a lot of the books that are incomplete finished because I have such a huge catalog. I'll start writing a story and then I get distracted by something else and then I'll come back to it. And for me, like ideas, a lot of times I can dream an entire book. I can see it happening. It's just a matter of getting it out of my head and onto the computer screen. Um, so for me, I think of a lot of books, a lot of stuff because I write contemporary fiction. A lot of it is from real life like scenarios or real life things that have happened to others or to me. And then, I create a story from it because life is a story. Everything you do in life is a story. So there's always going to be something to write about. So one question a lot of times I have people ask is, are your stories about you? Like, do you take pieces of your life and put it in your stories? And the answer is yes. A lot of times my characters either resemble me or resemble people that I know. A lot of times, especially the female characters, they do resemble me a lot. Um, and some of the places, do take some of the stories take places and take place in places where I've lived or that I currently live. So it makes it easier to write about a place that I do live because I know the surroundings and I know, this business does exist or that place does exist. But there is a lot that goes into being a self-published author. And I just hope those of you out there who are ready to take that journey, you know all that it entails and that you're ready to do it. I feel like you can do it. I know you can. So I just want to leave you with these words.
Here's this week's empowerment gem. Listen all month to collect all of them. Words of encouragement that push you to win, helping you to unlock the diamond from within.
Your story is already written. You just have to put pen to paper, fingers to keyboard, and get that story into the hands of a reader. It's already there. You've already written it. It's probably in your head. It's probably in your journal. It's probably in pieces of paper, notepad paper, little doodles or little just notes that you've taken, but your story is there. You've already written it. Now it's just time to polish it, put it together, do all the things that you need to do to get it into the hands of readers. Your life is a story, and the story deserves to be read. So all you have to do is write it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode today, getting to learn a little bit about the experience of being a self-published author, what it all entails. Of course, this is not a be all end all. This is just kind of a general enough to, give you an idea of what you need to do in order to be a self-published author. I hope to read some books from some of you after you finish listening to this episode. And don't forget to follow the podcast on all major podcasting platforms. Definitely follow and visit the website at bffempowermentpodcast.com. Follow us on all social media at BFF Empowerment Podcast on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and Facebook. If you would like to be a Woman on the Rise Spotlight guest on the show, feel free to send a email to bffempowerment@gmail.com. If you want to just say hi, leave a comment, topic suggestions for episodes, feel free to send us an email as well. If you enjoy the show, feel free to leave a review on any podcasting platform that allows you to leave reviews. I know Spotify only allows you to rate the podcast, but ratings help, reviews help. Definitely want to keep, content coming to you guys. I am looking at possibly a subscription based parts of the podcast for those of you who want some extra content, who want some super secret, Black Diamond knowledge. So I'm definitely looking into that possibility as well. So it was nice to have you guys listen, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for listening.